Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And this is just my full thought out review of the Pixel 4, Pixel 4 XL. And I've been using them the last couple of days. Solid devices. Definitely, definitely something, at least for me, that I feel happy about picking up. Now, for those, there are some setbacks, some caveats to the Pixel 4 XL, but it's more of just like its age rather than it being something that's like a hardware issue or software issue. It's more going to be about the age. So if you're someone that has to have 5G connectivity, like you have to be able to support the latest 5G bands that are available right now, then this device is not going to suffice for you. But if you're somebody who just wants a good working device and kind of wants something that's a little bit quirky, then the Pixel 4 XL is right up your alley. This device was released in 2019, so it's got some age onto it. As a matter of fact, the other caveat to the Pixel 4 and 4 XL is that it is no longer software supported by Google. The last security patch update that this phone even received was back in October of 2022, and that's basically where it ended for this device, which is kind of crazy because the Pixel 4a and the Pixel 4a 5G obviously is going to get Android 14, whereas the 4 and 4 XL will not. And this is just one of those things where like you can see when people talk about that they want Google to kind of like expand on support for their devices to go far beyond, just 3 software updates and 5 years of security patch. People want these devices to, kind of continue and go forward. Me, on the other hand, like, while it does suck that it's not getting any more security patches, that's where I feel like that Google should maintain software support for all of its Google devices going forward. There are, vulnerabilities that need to be patched, and some people don't go out and buy new phones until the phone they're currently using breaks, right? Like, they are the ones that ride it till the wheels fall off type thing. And we got to think about those people as well. So the 4 and 4 XL, those are the caveats to it. But looking beyond that and just the way that the phone functions, this is a solid phone. It really is. And it's still kind of cool just on this little quirkiness that it has. When it first came out, the only major real complaint from a lot of people who were interested in the Pixel 4 and 4 XL was the pricing of the devices upon release. But we are way past that now, as the phone's been out since 2019. And so now you can probably find these things for like, under $200. I mean, my 4XL that I found for $120, bought it, and it's in pristine condition, and the battery is still amazing on it. And the Pixel 4 I've had for a couple of years, and still going strong. I mean, when I bought it off the seller, they only owned the phone for a week, and they're just not familiar with Android, so they wanted to go back to iPhone, and I bought the Pixel 4 off of them. So getting them at a pretty decent price, especially nowadays, you can have a pretty solid device with that Google Pixel experience. If you're not a fan of the Tensor chip from Google, you'd be happy to know that these have Qualcomm Snapdragon chips inside of them and not in-house made chips. Even though I think that maybe Motion Sense would have probably benefited from a Tensor G2 or even the upcoming Tensor G3. That would be pretty sweet. And in past videos, I've stated that, I really wish that, Google would kind of like revive some of these with modern day hardware. And I genuinely stand by that. I genuinely mean that's something that I feel like that they should do. But besides all the coulda, woulda, shouldas, wishes, just really what the phone is and what it's able and what it's capable of doing. Really, that's it in a nutshell. It's a very well performing phone. And if you're someone who knows how to mod your device, well, then you'd be happy to know that as long as you have a non-Verizon version, bootloader unlocked, you'll be able to do any types of modifications to it and even keep it supported going through an Android 14 and future, Android OS software being released. So you can keep the phone alive and continue to go forward, right? Certain companies, this phone will do fantastic on, as majority of the carriers out there support LTE. The one that's going to be the hardest one is Dish, because Dish's network, it's own core network is standalone 5G. So these devices will always be on their fallback MVNO deal with AT&T and T-Mobile. So that's the only downside to it, is that if you're a Boost Infinite customer, but then yeah, you're always going to be on AT&T. You will not touch Dish's 5G core. But if you're on T-Mobile, AT&T, or Verizon, or even their prepaids and MVNOs that use them, you'll be just fine. And while I am on Boost Infinite and Boost Mobile with both these phones here, they do well. They do very well, fantastic with LTE connection on AT&T and even on T-Mobile, as the Pixel 4 has my Boost Mobile on T-Mobile Access SIM in it. So it does just fine. Gets the job done. Cameras on here is something that people tend to kind of like poke at, because one of the things when the Pixel 4 and 4 XL was announced and released, a lot of people were just like, hey, why didn't you go with the ultra wide camera? Why did you go with a telephoto? And I mean, that depends on just how people use the phone for photography. At the end of the day, I have no problem with it having a telephoto lens instead of an ultra wide lens. I have other Google Pixel devices that have ultra wide lenses in them, and if I ever need to do like an ultra wide shot, I can do that. But I rarely take those types of photos. My photos usually always just go with the main camera sensor and the main selfie sensor. So it's not detrimental to me to have telephoto, but it is nice to have though with those really super zoom shots that I want to take. I find the type of photography that I do, and I'm not a photographer, I just like taking photos of things. I tend to more want to zoom into something than actually expand something wider. So that's just me, right? But everybody's different, and so yeah, that's one of the things you will have to take in consideration, is the type of camera sensors this phone has. But at the end of the day, it's still a very solid phone. The only one that kind of suffers when it comes to battery life is going to be the Pixel 4. It has a 2800 milliamp hour battery. So having, 90 hertz refresh turned on both these devices will eat the battery, but it doesn't really impact the 4XL as much as it impacts the Pixel 4. Outside of that, just using it, with motion sense, you'll have some fun with that, but you'll kill the battery too as well. It's it requires a lot of power to be able to use Project Soli, which is still pre-beta. So we'll see what happens in the future with that. But at the end of the day, these are very, very good solid options, especially if you can find them for under $150, $130. I mean, if you're lucky to find it at that price, and you don't mind it being kind of outdated hardware, you'll be just fine with it. I mean, they're still worth, in my opinion, picking up today, especially if you just want a good solid device with that good Pixel experience. Then you are good to go with the Pixel 4 XL. Anyways, that is just my quick thoughts on this. I'll do another update video about them, give it some time to see how they age, and come back with another video for you guys, tell you guys my experience with them. But if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'd be more than happy to answer them. Thanks for checking out this video. I'll talk to you on the next one. And as always, aloha.